Hello, and welcome back to Eye of the Beholder, where we continue to review Dungeons & Dragons miniatures created by WOTC and WizKids from 2003 through 2023. Today we will finally finish up with the Monstrosity videos, so settle in and enjoy as we pick things back up with the Kraken, which is technically a titan. Enormous, squid-like monsters, their sheer size is enough to pull large vessels beneath the waves and scourge tropical islands of all life. They are as evil as they are huge. They are known for keeping captive humanoids as slaves in their cavernous lairs deep beneath the oceans. Fun fact, as if the tentacles, sharp beak, and ability to regenerate lost limbs isn't enough, they are also spellcasters. You know I gotta do it. Release the Kraken!
WizKids gives us this juvenile Kraken in the 2021's Boneyard set. Despite being on a huge base, the mini seems small to me. Even for a juvenile, its tentacles should be spread well beyond the base, with a head and body that should be at least twice as large. That being said, I do like the coloring of the mini. The dark fins contrast nicely with the lighter colored body, and the sigils set between the fins are a nice touch. Playability? Not seeing a DM getting a lot of usage here. Score: Paint 16, Pose 12, Playability 9, Pizzazz 14, for a score of 51.
Now here's where I would review the Kraken and Island set that was a special release tied to 2018's Monster Menagerie 3 set, but I can't find one. My anal retentive side is very annoyed and unpleased that I don't have one, so if anyone has a line to it, please let me know in the comments. The Lynn Collie, also known as Scorpion Men, Scorpion Folk, and Stingers, are a horrifying combination of man and scorpion, with a humanoid head, arms, and torso attached to a giant scorpion body, complete with poisonous tail. Organized and fiercely protective of their territories, which they patrol constantly in small bands. Favored weapons are the maca, a flat paddle embedded with obsidian shards, and interestingly, the bola.
Our only Lynn Collie mini comes in the 2022's Mordenkainen Presents Monsters of the Multiverse set. WizKids uses a low clear stand opposed to Lynn Collie standing tall on its otherwise delicate legs. Armed with both maca and bola, the yellowish torso contrasts well against the brown of the segmented body. It's cool, but the only drawback is its rarity. It won't be easy to get enough of these to form a proper patrol. Score: Paint 20, Pose 25, Playability 12, Pizzazz 24, for a score of 81.
Trappers are cousins to the Lurker. They just look like the standard dungeon floor rather than ceiling, until it folds up on the helpless prey, crushing and suffocating them, then digesting the flesh and leaving the treasure and equipment behind, which they care nothing about other than as a lure for their next meal.
We get our only Trapper mini in 2019's Volos and Mordenkainen's Foes set. And right away, I wish it was a huge-sized mini. I mean, it's serviceable as is. Pose it as is just about to begin folding up over a victim, the stone-like top looking exactly like dungeon floor, while the clear base allows us to see the manta-like body underneath. But you can only fit one medium-sized mini on it. Imagine a huge size capable of holding the entire party. Score: Paint 13, Pose 14, Playability 12, Pizzazz 12, for a score of 51.
If I'm playing a magic-using character, this is exactly the familiar I want. Called a Tressum, these chaotic neutral creatures look like house cats with wings. They are also quite intelligent, speaking their own language and understanding common. And yes, they delight in teasing dogs, flying away when the canines get too close.
We get our only Tressum miniature in 2019's Waterdeep Dungeon of the Mad Mage set. It's pretty okay for such a tiny mini. You can clearly see the two-tone brown-black wings raised high above its head, and the spots of yellow for the eyes are exactly what you'd look for if the creature was hiding in a dark corner eyes reflecting the light. Obviously not something the PCs would fight, but what a great addition it would make to the party. Score: Paint 13, Pose 15, Playability 18, Pizzazz 13, for a score of 59.
Umber hulks live deep underground, tunneling through solid rock with their massive claws. Solitary beings that have no society and only attack when hungry, which, unfortunately, is pretty often. They generally dine on other underground denizens like purple worms or ankegs, but consider humanoids a delicacy. Fun fact: as powerful as these creatures are, they are often enslaved by others such as the Nyogi, illithids, dragons, and even orcs.
WOTC tried to include as many cool miniatures as possible in their inaugural Harbinger set of 2003, so of course there's an Umber Hulk. Posed in mid-strike, the raised arm really emphasizes the size of the forearms. I also like how the large mandibles stand out both in color and size. It's a bit on the small side, normal for the large minis of the day, and a bit pedestrian in the paint job, but very cool, again, for the minis of the day. Score: Paint 13, Pose 18, Playability 15, Pizzazz 17, for a score of 63. Four years later, we get another, even better mini in 2007's Desert of Desolation set. Called an Umber Hulk Delver, it's everything the Harbinger version is, but better. The dark wash on the monochrome brown body really brings out the details, particularly on the carapace and the back of the legs. Pose is also more kinetic, shielding itself with its left arm while its right is about to strike. I also really like how the creature's head and mandibles are peeking over the defending arm. This is the best Umber Hulk. Score: 100. But oh my goodness, this one is so cool. From 2008's Against the Giants set, we get this huge Shadow Hulk. Pose is more stalking than attacking as it moves through the Underdark. I really like the open positioning of the left hand. Its gunmetal gray body doesn't need a dark wash, as the contours of the segmented body are easy to see. Finally, note the two sets of blue eyes set above the lighter gray of the humongous mandibles. I'm not sure how playable it is, but screw it, I'll figure out a way. Score: 100. WizKids gives us their first Umber Hulk mini in 2016's Monster Menagerie set, and it's really good as well. They go with a lighter tan for the body, and again use contouring rather than dark wash for segmentation of the body. The absolute best part, though, is the eyes. Yellow with a black double pupil, they make the mini. Pose is basic Umber Hulk, crouched as it moves forward, arms lowered but ready. Score: Paint 18, Pose 18, Playability 22, Pizzazz 24, for a score of 82. Our final Umber Hulk mini comes 6 years later in the Red-Headed Stepchild set, Spelljammer Adventures in Space. It's a bit darker of body, with eyes not quite as striking as the predecessor. Other than that, it's basically a mirror image of the previous mini. Seriously! Look at them facing off. It's like looking into a mirror. The one advantage this one has is that it's an uncommon, our only uncommon Umber Hulk, so it should be easier to get if you need one. Score: Paint 15, Pose 18, Playability 24, Pizzazz 20, for a score of 77.
Despite its name and being native to the Nine Hells, the Bone Whelk is not an undead creature. They are the scavengers of Avernus, constantly in search of organic material to consume. They excrete a sticky trail that, along with allowing them to crawl along walls and ceilings, lets them pick up varied debris that eventually forms their protective shell.
So, does our only Bone Whelk Mini come from the Inverness set? Of course not, silly. We get it in 2021's Boneyard set. And while the body is nothing special, dark brown with nary a variation, it's the shell that's the star here. Close examination shows several humanoid skeletons. I make out 2 skulls among the many bones, with the shell capped with the large rib bones and what looks like the upper jaw of some long-dead devil. Score: Paint 15, Pose 14, Playability 12, Pizzazz 23, for a score of 64.
Winter wolves are larger, fiercer, and far more intelligent than their warg cousins, with the ability to speak common, giant, and their own language. Their white-gray fur is perfect camouflage in northern climes, which they use to maximum advantage to ambush prey. Like normal wolves, they form packs and attack as one, using not only wolf tactics, but an innate breath weapon of intense cold.
Our first Winter Wolf Mini, from weirdly enough the Underdark set of 2005, doesn't exactly exude fierceness, does it? Honestly, I kind of want to pet it. Its white fur is nicely detailed, and we get a spot of black for the eyes and nose as it trots through the frozen wasteland looking for its next meal. It isn't uncommon, so easy to gather enough together for a pack, especially with the WizKids versions coming up, spicing it up with a bit of variety. Score: Paint 13, Pose 12, Playability 16, Pizzazz 13, for a score of 54. WizKids' first attempt at a Winter Wolf Mini comes in their 5th set, 2016 Storm King's Thunder. Another uncommon, our pack is getting bigger. It's better, but not quite there yet. Its dark gray fur is more warg than winter to me, although we do get a nice pink tongue and white fangs for contrast. Posed a bit more aggressively as it circles its prey, shoulders hunched and teeth bared. I like it, just don't love it. Score: Paint 11, Pose 15, Playability 16, Pizzazz 13, for a score of 55. Third time's a charm. WizKids nails it with their final attempt from, naturally enough, 2020's Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden set. The grayish-white fur is perfect with just enough contrast to blend into the environment. Pose is also solid, standing stock still while extremely focused on its target. Note the ice blue eyes with dark pupil. Another uncommon, my pack is complete. Score: Paint 18, Pose 20, Playability 20, Pizzazz 22, for a score of 80. Out of order, but I had to save this one for last. The Thrim Hound is a huge version of the Winter Wolf. Beyond vicious, they enjoy the hunt and really enjoy playing with their food. Our only Thrim Hound Mini comes from WOTC's last set, 2010's Lords of Madness. Posed crouching low either in preparation to spring or guarding a recent kill, the gray fur appears to fade to white at the tips. Also, thanks to its size, it has the most fearsome set of jaws. Note the pink tongue as well. Fun fact, WOTC mislabeled this Mini, calling it a Rime Hound on the base. Score: Paint 18, Pose 21, Playability 12, Pizzazz 20, for a score of 71.
Wargs are smarter and fiercer than your normal wolf, with the added bonus of being evil. Despite their intelligence, yes, they can speak common, albeit crudely, they tend to revert to wolf behavior when hunting, which, like a wolf, generally is done in packs. Fun fact, wargs are often enslaved by orcs and goblins and used as mounts.
We get our first Warg Mini in WOTC's first set, 2003's Harbinger. And unfortunately, it completely misses the mark. As a medium, it's just too small, even for a goblin to ride. Dark gray of body and posed in a basic stalking position, just use it as a regular wolf, or maybe as a pup to be captured by the PCs. Score: Paint 11, Pose 12, Playability 8, Pizzazz 10, for a score of 40. WizKids does much better with their Warg Mini in 2017's Monster Manual 2 set. Here we get one of proper size. I can easily see an orc rider atop this beast. It has the same gray as its smaller predecessor, but with the very tall shoulders prevalent in the species. Face is far more ferocious as well, with the bared teeth very visible against the gray. I like the eyes too. Score: Paint 14, Pose 17, Playability 19, Pizzazz 19, for a score of 69.
Purple worms were doubtlessly inspired by the sandworms of Dune. They are truly enormous subterranean creatures, growing up to 150 feet long. Possessing tremor sense and the ability to burrow at great speed, they favor attacks from below, bursting out of the ground in an attempt to grab their prey in its huge maws and swallow them whole, letting the stomach acid do the rest. Fun fact: purple worms are excellent swimmers.
Our first purple worm from WotC's War of the Dragon Queen set of 2006 is pretty good, if not a bit small, well, relatively speaking. Really, it should be used as a juvenile for gaming purposes. Posed as if bursting from the ground, it rises above the gray rocks on its base, twisting upon itself as it brings its mouth to bear. Nice touch having rows of teeth receding back towards the throat. Color? Well, it's purple, albeit with a black underbelly that actually looks pretty good. Score: Paint 22, Pose 20, Playability 17, Pizzazz 20, for a score of 79. We get this amazing purple worm miniature as a special release attached to 2020's Fangs and Talons set, and I'm going to end the speculation right now. This is a 100. I love everything about this mini, especially its heft. Posed similar to the WotC version, bursting out of the earth with mouth agape, the comparison ends there. The purple of the upper body is brighter, and the dirty white of the underbelly matches the rows of spikes running down its flanks. And that mouth, seriously, this is a work of art. Purple worms lay eggs, and we get an example of one in 2023's Dragonlance War of the Dragon Queen set. Not much to see here. A glossy purple shell that fades to translucence at the base. I'm not sure how much this mini will get used outside of background. Maybe it's more prevalent in the Dragonlance saga. Perhaps the party's discovery of the egg brings about Mom. Score: Paint 13, Pose 10, Playability 10, Pizzazz 12, for a score of 45.
The Zill are another weird-ass creature from the equally weird-ass original Fiend Folio. Native to the ethereal plane, with the ability to shift to the material planes at will. I'm going to skip a lot of the exposition to go straight to the interesting stuff. Remember aliens? That's how the Zill reproduce. They pop into the material plane, grab a victim, and inject it with eggs and, well, you've seen the movie.
We get our only Zill mini early on in WotC's third set, 2004's Archfiends. It's hard to make out much detail on this one. A closer examination shows its reptilian head in profile to the body, which is clad in a dark leather frock over a blood-red skin. Armed with twin short swords, it appears to be in mid-combat, perhaps attempting to subdue a target for a little ethereal alone time. Ugh. Score: Paint 11, Pose 13, Playability 11, Pizzazz 11, for a score of 46.
We used to call them abominable snowmen, but maybe that became politically incorrect, so now they are known as Yeti. Found in mountainous Arctic environments, they are elusive creatures, rarely spotted due to their white fur blending in with the ice and snow. That is, until they ambush you. Fierce fighters of tooth and claw, with the extra ability to paralyze the unsuspecting who look into their eyes.
WizKids gives us our first Yeti in 2016's Monster Menagerie set. Poses as if bellowing out a challenge, or perhaps just calling to his own kind, it stands with legs widespread, arms to the side, with head thrown back and mouth agape. I like how WizKids use blue for the hands, feet, and horns. It makes for a nice contrast to the white of the fur. And we even get a little bit of pink in the mouth. Score: Paint 14, Pose 13, Playability 13, Pizzazz 16, for a score of 56. The first Yeti was good. This one is way better. Called an abominable Yeti, this one comes from 2020's Icewind Dale Rime of the Frost Maiden set, which makes sense as Yetis are rumored to be more numerous than humans in that realm. This guy is also way angrier than his predecessor, bellowing rage, nice fangs by the way, and ready to deliver a mighty blow with his upraised right arm. Here, the white fur is grayed with a dark wash for detailing, with black hands, feet, horn, and face for contrast. Score: Paint 25, Pose 25, Playability 22, Pizzazz 23, for a score of 95. From the same Icewind Dale set, we get this cute little Yeti tyke. Great facial expression on this one. Look at how he's practicing his battle face. Same white fur and dark extremities as his way bigger brother. The fact that it's a common does up playability a bit. I can't imagine the PCs running into one of these outside of a family group. Score: Paint 13, Pose 12, Playability 14, Pizzazz 12, for a score of 51.
At long last, we come to our final Monstrosity mini. Drum roll, please. Meet the Zorbo, a small carnivorous creature native to Cholt. Cute little guys, too bad they really have a craving for humanoid flesh. I know, not quite the thrilling climax we were hoping for.
Naturally, we get our only Zorbo mini in the Tomb of Annihilation set of 2017. Like its book art, it's posed sitting on its backside. Outside of that, there's not a lot of detailing here. Zorbos have the ability to take on characteristics of their environment. Perhaps he's taken on the aspect of rock. Outside of Cholt, I'm not sure how useful this mini is. Score: Paint 7, Pose 10, Playability 7, Pizzazz 5, for a score of 29.
So, despite the lackluster ending, we've done it. We've completed the Monstrosities. Thanks to all who watched the videos, or frankly to all who've watched. As always, comments are welcome. I, the Beholder, will be tackling on the most sexy of creatures with our next video. That's right, people. I'm talking oozes. Until then, I bid you a good night.